And good morning. It's your friendly neighborhood Tironan, and today we're looking at the Hurricane Mark 1. Now, what can we say about the Hurricane? Well, this is Sidney Cam and the Hawker Aircraft Corporation's design. It was an older design than the Spitfire. However, it was a pivotal design in many ways because despite what you will hear about the Battle of Britain, this is the aircraft that won it. He said, wait, I've seen all the... Yeah, okay. Here's the point. For every Spitfire that was in the Battle of Britain, there were three of these. And if this is done correctly, if World of Warplanes has uh, translated this correctly, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they have reasons for what they do. Please understand, I'm not criticizing them. They have a game to run. This was the aircraft that won the Battle of Britain because there were so many of them. They took the brunt of the battle. There were not enough Spitfires, and on top of that, they were easier to repair than Spitfires. And you're immediately going to say, but, no. This was the aircraft that won the Battle of Britain. And furthermore, earlier, it was the aircraft that you would most see over the skies of France during the Battle of France. And there were some 12 squadrons over there. They were the aircraft that you would most see over the skies of the Great Evacuation at Dunkirk. So for the first year of the war, first 2 years of the war, really, this was the aircraft that really represented Great Britain in the battle. All right, let's take a look at the upgrades, and because we've got some on here. I am not putting bombs on this. Okay, it's already got a 10-second turn time when it should have an 8. Um, and then these I got because I had other British mods from other aircraft, so I just plugged them in. So we're about halfway up tier 2 already, and this is a tier 4 aircraft, so I do not expect that it will take very long to go up the chain. The pilot had to get a new pilot for this. This is a continuation of the British multi-role line, which is why I suspect that you've got a 10-second turn time. Now, mind you, a 10-second turn time makes it equivalent to a P-51 and a lot of other mid-turn type fighters, the faster fighters. So it's not a complete disgrace, but it was actually, in reality, when outfitted as a fighter, could outturn a Spitfire. It wasn't as fast as a Spitfire, but it could outturn it. And part of the reason, as you can see here, was this was a tubular framework with a fabric stretched over it. It was a late mid-30s design. Now, you'll ask, well, what happened to it? Well, it served very successfully as a multi-role fighter. It was used as a fighter bomber, and there was a Hurricane 2, which came immediately afterwards. And you can see they went through the Brownings. They got some rockets put on it. They switched to 20 millimeters. And they got some engines on it. It was never a terribly fast aircraft, and it was never going to be a terribly fast aircraft. But, and then, of course, entered the Typhoon, Tempest, so forth and so on. So they have here the Tornado, which was a kissing cousin to the Typhoon. And the difference here was the engine. The engine that went into this was the Vulture 2, and it had a lot of problems. just never really worked out. Now, the United States had this too, and so did the Soviet Union, and both Japan and Germany had multiple failed engine projects. This is nothing unusual. What they did was they went into the Napier Sabre, and then eventually the Centaurus, which you see here, which did work and work very well. And when you get that, you get a fairly quick fighter, though it should be very low altitude. It didn't work well at high altitude, and then you merge back into the British fighter line, which I already have. Okay, let's take a look at the tech tree so you can see how this works. And it dumps you, when you finish with the Tornado, right back into the Spitfire. And I'm already at the Spitfire 14. You've seen my videos on the Spitfire 1, 5, and 9, and 14. And I love the 14. Oh, it's a fun aircraft. We're working our way to the Attacker here. So we'll go through this line, let you take a look at it. I am trying to go through every line short of the premiums, and that's just, folks, I'm a semi-retiree, and I do not have the funds to do it. So if you're dying to see me fly a particular premium aircraft and you've got a bout of insanity, then you can gift me the aircraft, and I will fly it for you and give you full credit for it. But I can't imagine anybody doing that. So, well, it's a nice fantasy. It's just, I can't ask people to do that. I'm even reluctant to put up Patreon. So, here we are. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to fly the Hurricane Mark 1. This is my first trip on this aircraft, and I know nothing about it. So the chances of me making a complete idiot of myself are excellent. If you do, laugh along with me, because I intend to enjoy the experience regardless. Now, a tubular frame with fabric stretched over sounds very much like the mid-20s designs, late 20s designs, early 30s designs. And I believe this aircraft was designed in 1935. Now, this is a wonderful aircraft from a number of standpoints, though, at the time that it was actually being fought, which is if you blew a big hole in the back of the fuselage, well, that's great. You just, weld some more pipe into the tubular frame, and you cover it with fabric and glue it in place, and voila, you're repaired. Of course, it's always more difficult than that. I'm sure control lines and other things and hydraulics and would have to be replaced, but you get the idea. It's a fairly simple aircraft to repair, and when you're fighting for your life, having damaged aircraft that you can replace very quickly, repair very quickly, and get back in action is one heck of a blessing, isn't it? All right. And the Archipelago map tends to be a low altitude map for the most part, but you get some high altitude fighters out there. I'm pretty sure we're not going to be one of them. Okay, I'm not really hearing any sounds, so we'll kick that up a little bit. Now, I have no bombs on this for the first run, and we're just going to try this as it's a multi-role fighter. We're going to try it as a multi-role fighter, see how that behaves. Now, the armament we didn't talk about, it was 8 303s. First they were Vickers, and then they were John Browning's 30 caliber. Those always were British 203s. That's what the Britain had, and that was their aircraft. Okay. This is not the second coming of the Spitfire, by the way. I can already tell it does not maneuver as well, though it certainly moves very smoothly. But it's not exactly what one would call a turn and burn. Or was it supposed to be? And I'm enjoying my coffee and my breakfast this morning, folks. Got a late start. I was out with a friend of mine. We went to Texas Roadhouse in McKinney on 75. Oh, was that a good meal? John bought me a steak, and the bullshit was running thick and fast that day. I mean, it was fun. The waitress was flirting with my friend. I'm 60 years old, so I don't get the 19-year-olds paying much attention to me anymore, and that's okay too. I'm getting to that age where women are nice to look at, and that's about as much as I care about it. And I'm well over my altitude, but I'm not in the red yet. I'm going to use a little boost trying to get back up to speed here. And since I'm at altitude, and you notice I can't get over 125 miles an hour, that's just the fact of what the aircraft is. It's not going to perform that well at this altitude. And the range on the guns, now these are rifle caliber machine guns, is just not that good. About 1,300 feet and a little more. And that's typical. And if anybody ever tries to tell you, well, you know, the 7.62 was a 7.92, or the Springfield 30-06, the 30-06 rounds were better. The French 7.5, if you looked at them all on a ballistic chart, you would be shocked as to just how close they really are. Like somebody said, the curve, you can plus or minus it by 10%, and this is what your infantry rifle round will look like. Whether by design or not, that was what the confluence of everybody's decision was in this case. But the guns are effective enough. Tier 4, I'm not exactly expecting world-beating designs. And I doubt that I will even be able to get up to the 7.62. I'm sorry. So I've got the ballistics on my mind now. Up to that Ju-88's level to contest with them. I can't do it. All right, we are sitting now 3-1. I am not going to go stick my nose into the middle of that hornet's nest. I don't think we can win it. There's no reason for us to, and so I'm going to play Guardian over the mining base, which is far more important. Though, again, for those that don't know, a mining base gives you 100 and every 120 seconds gives you an additional 80 influence. Which means that the mining base, in regards to the amount of influence generated, is the most valuable piece of property out there. And and they came into my area. Now, given this is a multi-role, I'd be shocked if I could actually outmaneuver this LA-7. But I'll be happy to try, because I have to try. And I notice that we're not getting any help at all from our fellow players. Now, in fairness, our fellow players are most likely guys getting started, don't understand the rules of the game. That's why I make these videos. Okay. So people can learn and take it from there. But if you don't defend your base, now they are in a position to overtake everything we've done. I don't know if we have any planes left. We act like they're not. And these guys are popping off people as soon as they come in. That's unfortunate. And I'm not in an aircraft where I feel like I can intercede with that.
Keep it up. Victory is almost ours.
Well, we'll do what we can. And at least the guns are beginning to bite. I'm trying to save my fellow aircraft, which is why I'm ignoring the fellow behind me. Oh, this is going from the bad to the tragic here, isn't it? You do not want to ram that aircraft. And because we're in a slow aircraft, you notice I have 0 boost and we're not catching up. So he is doing his classic boom and zoom, which is exactly what he's supposed to be doing, by the way. And yeah, there we go. All knocked in the I-17, I think wanted a little revenge. Now, I do not know what the other aircraft are doing, but I guess I could do a replay and see where everybody's planes were, but essentially lack of, well, they're all concentrated over one area, but they must have been doing something very similar the whole time to get those kind of results. It is a multi-role aircraft, it's not a low-altitude multi-role aircraft, so it's not terribly good at dominating a battlefield at this particular stage. And if I don't sound that happy, it's just because, you know, I expect more from my teammates than I got. And I failed too. So, we shot down 6 aircraft, captured 2 sectors. You know, that's about all you can do. But it just feels bad when you get whooped that bad. due to the fact they were aircraft. Well, yeah, these were all bots. So just being post-traumatic, who did one heck of a job, by the way, over there with Vulcan. And that's quite a clan, by the way. Almanac and I-17 did a very good job. Give them a little heads up there, did a good job. Okay, so what do I think of the aircraft? Well, I wish I'd taken the bombs. And I'm going to mount them. Because there's a minimal amount of, 304 versus 311. I can live with that. Needs to be faster, for one thing. And for this to be more effective, it's got to have higher altitude. Unless you have high altitude fighters that are really doing the job, it's awfully tough. And when you upgrade the airframe, you don't get any altitude capability. And when you upgrade the aircraft, you're going to want this. It gives you another quite a bit of power, or quite a bit of airspeed, I should say. And you pick up some dive speed and some maneuverability, which are both going to be wonderful for this aircraft because it's lacking in both. I'm going to stick with the standard on this. I don't know what I have in the depot. I would recommend aircraft polish, lightweight airframe, and control surface adjustment. Now, I'm not going to have the aircraft long enough to worry about that. I'll do another video tomorrow when I bring the aircraft up to the full upgrade. Obviously, I don't think that's going to take very long. And I'm not willing to invest more a bunch of money into an aircraft that that I'm not going to keep. This is not a. Don't get me wrong; it's a nice upgrade on the Suka. We'll go ahead and try this with a multi-role. In fact, I'll capture a video on that. If it's fun, we'll put it up. If not, then we'll just go ahead and wait till the full upgrade and do that tomorrow. It's right up there with the Wildcat and that sort of aircraft. As you get used to it, you'll do better at it. I always do. And with the full upgrades, it may have changed my opinion right now. I'm kind of meh on the aircraft. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's first flight. So, and quite often I change my mind as things go on. Thought I was going to absolutely hate the P-51H. And when he got his full upgrade and was able to hang with the jets better, I went from a fairly negative view to a medium view on it. And I loved the P-51D. I loved the P-51A. But to its competition, it's a middling aircraft. Here, I think this is going to come up much the same, but we'll see. We'll give it a try, not give it up on it. And we'll go on to the Hurricane 2, produce a video on that, and on to the Tornado after that. So that's the plans for this line. And we'll take it from there. And since there's no successor to the Tornado, come on, guys, typhoons, tempests, all that stuff. Where is that? We'll take it from there. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate you watching. Remember to like the video and to subscribe. I desperately need subscribers. And we'll see you tomorrow.